Welcome, Sneh. Thanks for having us and having you, I should say, in the podcast today.
Mm.
And Sneh is a community leader, program manager at Jagga, which is, I think, one of the coolest, well, can I call it co-work spaces in Bangalore, India? Can I call it like that? Co-work space?
Yes,
How would you
yeah.
describe it?
Maybe also as Jagga startup, the oldest co-working space in Bangalore. Uh,
Yeah, the most traditional one. Yes.
Yes,
So, Sneh, we met like I think it's last April in Bangalore,
yes,
right?
yes. Around April, yes, yes.
Yeah, and I was there for the second time to visit Jaga because I was really inspired by the co-work space as a whole. Can you describe a little bit about Jaga's roots, how it came to existence? Very brief, and also why you there, why you work with and for Jaga.
Oh, I'll start with a brief history of Jagga. Jagga is actually the oldest co-working space in Bangalore. When I say oldest, it's like about 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
We were like one of those really old, the new ones who came about into the whole industry of the co-working space when the whole environment of co-workers was not very existent. It was just it was very nascent, it was very new, it was very fresh. So
Mm-hmm.
Jaga actually came about with an idea of having activists, technologists, socialists, artists, and entrepreneurs come under one roof. And Archana and Freeman, who are the co-founders of Jaga, just like they just wanted a space which was like open, airy, and could have all these people under one roof. That's how Jaga actually came in being. Um, so, like I said, we're 6 years old. Initially, it was all amalgamated into a one thought process. But now, since we saw the opportunity of a business model in each one of them, prior Jaga was like a non for profit. We would not charge, or we would charge very basic nominal fee that would just cover up very basic expenses.
Mm-hmm.
But now, since we saw the opportunity and we saw the market growing, we have become three business models that run parallelly with each other. Jaga Startup is where I work, which is a co working hub. Jaga DNA is where we try to get art to the public. And
Mm-hmm.
Jaga Study is a farm in a nice, very breezy, greeny area of
It's
Bangalore where
super
there's
cool.
so yes. So there uh, we sort of flare out the students. We sort of, we teach them how to self mentor themselves into becoming better coders.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so these are the three peripherals that run. I'll focus on Java startup more because I'm a little more partial towards that because I
Mm-hmm.
work with it. So Java startup is a space which is it's a community. It's not just a real estate space where you would just come rent a desk and a table, use the internet, and have some coffee and go back home. No, we're a community over here. We really care about each other, and we try to get things happen so that. The community grows. So every startup that grows and that moves out of Jaga, we take it as a self-learning batch. That listen, the startup has grown bigger, and we've grown bigger with the startup. So we are very particular about our startups' needs. We really look. We sort of nurture it in a way. We like nurture these guys like our own babies, and try to
Do you
get.
have some examples how you pull that off? Like,
So it can be as simple as you can come up and tell me that Sneh, listen, I think we need a marketing workshop. I'll get that done. You can come up and tell me, Sneh, I need tea inside. I'll get that done. You say, Sneh, I need the coding done. Okay, awesome. I'll connect you to a coder. You want a UX designer? I'll connect you to a UX designer. You want to raise funding and you're preparing a pitch deck and you want second person's opinion. I'll come in space and I'll help you out. So it's
wow.
from the basic needs to actually needs that requirements that might just take you to another level as well. And knowing Tej is the director of Jaga Startup. He's a tech brain. He's a think tank team
Yeah.
for he's a think tank one person to go for us. He's brilliant at all
He's
of this.
walking brain. Yeah.
He is totally. So
Hi, Jay. He's behind you.
so He pretty much takes care of the thinking bit. Maneuver, who's pseudo Superman in normal
Yeah.
jeans t-shirt at Jagga, he takes care
So
of all of
it's really from a personal approach. It's not
it's yes,
just
it's
an
oh,
intranet, an online data bank. Like I need someone, and then people
oh,
respond to
absolutely
it.
not. Oh, so like little things like we had you over for host to transform because we saw the potential of how the community can actually extract from your sessions. And trust me, I have never like it was very surprising because I was not very sure of how people are going to respond because now these guys are like the serious techie guys. They love their
The
laptops
left
and they
brainers.
yes, yeah, and they like they were like for an hour they do not want to waste time and they don't like to, so they're very particular and very possessive about their time as well. So I was really concerned. I was like, oh my god, I'm trying this, but I'm just a little nervous at how they're going to respond because most of them are really closed and shy, and even though it's a community, they just usually just keep it to work. And we wanted the community to grow, and we saw the potential that Host Transform can actually have and the impact it'll have on the community. Trust me, as soon as you left, Jessica, there were a few people came back and they were like, Sneh, let's just try to have more of these sessions. And I was like, you guys
That's so
enjoyed
cool.
it? Yeah, you guys enjoyed it? And they were like, we loved it. This is just like it's helping us break the ice and it's helping us understand and it's helping us contribute to the community rather than just taking from the community, and we want to contribute too. And if we can be of he's like, I didn't know, it was as simple as one of the guys came up and told me that I sit in the next room of that guy for the past 6 months, and I just know him by his name, and I didn't know he can develop an app, and have been looking for a web app
And you're
developer.
sitting next to each other.
Yes, and I was like, "What?" So they were like, "Yeah, I didn't know he does that. Now I know it." And I'm like, "Awesome! You should then go and talk to him and get that done." So
It's
it's
really subtle, right? It's not so
yeah,
much about rocket science and to find the right match, but I think it's more from an empathetic level or more from
and
intrinsically, yeah,
and
connection.
it's more about how you actually led the workshop. It like you said, it was never in the face. It was never forceful. It didn't like push you to the uncomfortable zone where you were like a little eerie and you were like, oh my god, why am I here? I didn't sense that from anybody all throughout the session or even post session. They were just so comfortable, like they were just so comfortable, and I like, wow, they can become comfortable with each other, and nobody's pushing them to do it. So it was a lovely experience. It was a
Ah,
great experience, and it I think it did open a lot of doors for communications, in a way. People started talking to each other, people started addressing each other, people started actually looking to each other for help, and they would come up and they would contribute themselves, and they would be like, oh Sneh, you know what, I know SEO very well, do you want me to conduct a session? And I'm like, yeah, I saw you like a year back from you, and it's taken you 8 months to come up and tell me, but I'm glad that they came
it
up and
did.
told
They
me
did.
that. So it's
Yeah.
it's great. It's the whole idea of them trying to take the ownership and trying to take the step towards contributing to the community or to each other. It's the communication has become more fluid, and
Yeah.
it flows, it happens. So it's great.
Yeah, it's kind of a paradox because I totally understand the role of a community manager and lead, and you do an awesome job, and you see all these opportunities and you dare to experiment because believe
Uh-huh.
me, there's also a lot of spaces that do not even want to experiment if they haven't seen for themselves that it's impactful. And this
Uh-huh.
is really difficult for me to explain because, yeah, I can tell you there's thousands of people that find it a great experience, but yeah, it also depends the person maybe. And it's
Yes.
difficult to approach them, and especially if it's not a community leader like you, very open and just in for some new experiences and learnings. Um, but the paradox here is also that as a community leader, I think you cannot be 100% responsible for the community, even though maybe it's your core business.
I agree.
It's also for people that pay, even they pay thousands of euros or really little money, that doesn't change the fact that you need to co create with that.
Yeah, I absolutely second on that because unless the community doesn't want to, how much ever you knock on their door, if they want to, they respond. If they don't want to, they just not respond. And it's just how somewhere, yeah, like you said, the co-creation part takes a lot of lead in that. So yes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely go by that. And something like a host to transform workshops definitely, helps, helps massively to actually solve this for us, because at times it just becomes really troublesome. Because if you want to just communicate to them, and they're so stuck up with their work, for them, 365 days and 24 hours round the clock, their work is all they care about. And do you want to do something for them, you literally have to,
Yeah.
get through that. So at times
Yeah,
it just,
for the listeners, I can see in the back of you also some people with headphones in and
yeah, I do,
focus.
like, even if I start yelling over it, they'll be like, yeah, it's okay, fine, do what you want. Let me just work and let me just get through my deadline, because they're startups, they work on deadlines. And,
Yeah.
it is really difficult for them, because some of them are bootstraps. The ones who are funded is rather easier, because at least you have someone backing you. But for the ones who are bootstrap, every
Can
day
you
is,
explain what Bootstrap is for people that might
bootstrap is
not know?
self-funded.
Uh huh.
It's self-funded. So if I have a startup of my own and I'm fairly new, and obviously if I'm fairly new, I don't have a product, or even if I have a product, not necessary that a particular funder would want to fund to me, or I haven't pitched to a funding round as of yet. So up till the time I'm sure of what I'm doing, and up till the time I have a product or something, until the time I make my mind, I self fund myself. So
Yeah.
my time, my energy, maybe for the space, and if I have team co-workers, and etc., etc.,
Yeah.
all the overheads it will be taken care of me. That needs bootstrap.
Uh huh. I love all this new jargon getting into the in the field, right? It also shows there's a big demand or there's a big interest for working independently or in a different way.
I totally agree. It's actually kind of funny, because like I told you, 6 years back when Jagga was fairly new, people didn't know about the term co-working space, or they were not very familiar with. At least in India, they were not very familiar with. They would be like, oh, you know what? If it's a bunch of friends, we are like 7 to 8, we might as well just rent an apartment. Two of us can live there and work out of there, or let's work out of each other's house. But then eventually that takes a toll on you. You cannot sit and work at home. So when Jaga was fairly new at that point of time, there were, it became like, oh my God, there's a space like this. It would be, you would get reactions like this. Oh my God, it's such a lovely space. Oh, I love the idea. Oh, this is so cool, kind of a thing. And eventually, how the market has grown today, that every second space and every second person is a co-worker or a co-working space. And it is insane how the market has, folded in so many multiple folds, and it's grown so big right
Yeah.
today. So yeah.
And what would you kind of advise or do? Because what I also see, there's people that I mean, Jaga. In my opinion, which is me and a lot of people, I guess, Jaga really guts the picture. You also call it DNA, Jaga DNA, because you want
Yeah.
people to intrinsically be part of the whole and not just use it as a desk space. And you
No,
do
absolutely.
everything to and experience everything to try to pull it off. Also, personal attention, get new experience going in the space. But what about those co-work spaces that actually, yeah, also say they're the same as Jaga, but they don't really activate the community. They really feel that having an open space, that's it. And I
See,
feel that they go towards the bigger organization cultures that also have people sitting in cubes or have an open space but do not
uh-huh.
really deal with their employees or encourage them.
See, it depends, because I do have at times people who come into the space and they'll be like, oh, you conduct events. Oh, can I have a small nook somewhere which is like, it doesn't have so much of light coming in and not many people walking by, and so it depends upon what your requirements are. If you want a community which is very interactive and crazy and fun, and at the same point of time it's serious, and we always look to help each other out, and we have not a lot of events, but events that certainly help our startups and are more focused on our startups. We have happy hour events.
Mm-hmm.
So, if these are the small things that Jaga does, is because, uh, like I told you, we do not want to become like a real estate. So that's our ideology, is where we want a community. We want to grow the community and not the space. So hence Jaga still only has one spot. We can conveniently go and take more spots and become larger in number, but we rather
Mm.
have the quality of the community rather than having quantity of space.
Nice.
Uh,
Yeah.
but that then again, that depends, going back to answering your question, it depends upon the ideologies, your target market, and
Yeah.
where you want to fit into the whole startup culture, and how, whether you want to give back something in the startup culture or not, whether you want to grow it. It just basically depends upon what your priorities are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So I had another question. I mean, Hosted Transform is all about transformation on the personal level, team level, community
Mhm.
level, and even societal level. Um,
Definitely. Hmm.
what maybe just a very basic question, and you can answer it in any way you please, of course. For you? What is how do you see transformation? It's a big word, and
Yeah.
yeah, I just wonder how it resonates with you.
See, if I have to give an example, I'll just say, we had you for an hour over here
Mm-hmm.
on one day. It was, I think, what, 45 minutes to an hour your session went on to, because it's a very short session. And usually, this is funny because whenever I have workshops, so there was, it's ironical actually. Post your session, I think it was a weekday. On usually Thursdays and Fridays, I tend to conduct this really short, serious session. Like, there'll be a bank guy who'll come and talk, or there'll be a lawyer who'll come and talk about patents and copyrights and, the heavy things, heavy stuff, because we believe that the startups need to know about this.
Mm-hmm.
And your session was nothing in context to them, like, like from an IP session, they'll come to know about IP. From a host to transform session, they'll grow personally, but their startups won't. So,
Mm-hmm.
in that definition, your session happened. The next day I had, I'm going to talk about IP, and they all were yawning away.
Mm-hmm.
And post your session, everybody was so energetic. The whole day was so bubbly and so positive. Like, I could see people like talking and, wanting to share ideas, and, like, wanting to make conversations, even debates for that matter. And they were just like, they were looking forward to the day. And at the other session, they were just looking at me and they were like, why are you keeping us over here? Why are we doing this kind of a thing? So it's the whole difference. What your session made to them on their day was what I think was very beautiful for me to see, is because I see these guys work from like 8 in the morning till like at times 10 in the night. And it is, at times it's like, oh my, you want to reach out to them and tell them, just like, relax a little, just take it a little easy, because they're so stressed at times.
Yeah, you don't want to have burnouts there.
Yeah, and the time when they had just an hour with you, and you made them do some exercises, and there were some nice sessions of interaction and the fun games and all. Um, the whole day that went by was so good. Like, I could see the energy that was up, and people were talking and everything. It was very nice.
Great, great. Thanks for that.
So, yeah. So the whole transformation is what, when I say transformation, it's just, from a day to day, when I'm trying to compare of how, your workshop had an impact in them all through the day, and versus what was the next session like. It's, for me, that was the best transformation that I could see, is that the community started, they just needed an icebreaker,
Mm-hmm.
and your session served the purpose. So
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
gorgeous. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny. It's actually our purpose is not so much to make people do things and make them interact and force
Uh,
them, but we provide a framework where interaction happens. So
yes.
we provide a structure, and within that structure, behavior occurs according their yeah, their need or what's on top of their mind, and not so much about how we want them to behave. And I think that's
Exactly.
the
It
main
was,
difference. Yeah.
yeah, because so Jaga also supports that we do not force anything on anybody, and we do not have any rules and regulations that you're not supposed to do this or that. It's just like a very open space. It's your space. Utilize it and exploit it, and love it, but at the same point of time. So when your framework came in place, it just synchronized in such a beautiful manner that it just now it I feel like it's a part of everything when we are trying to do any community events or talks or just happy hours, or it's just even lunch sessions. I can see the whole framework taking place and doing its part beautifully. Yes.
Nice. Nice. So New Year is coming up, and what is
Yeah.
the plan for you and for Jaga? Is there any
Um,
news or?
so, news. So no, I don't think so. It's just that yeah, oh, this is a big news. We are launching a new website, jaggastartup.in. It's actually live right now, but we are working on it as well. So whoever wants to, please go and look at it. It's a very small, sweet website. Two
It's
others,
Jaga dot
jaggastartup.in.
in. Yeah, for India.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. And this is like the first time in this year, and maybe the last time, hopefully, that we have few spaces open. So usually we never had space earlier, and off lately also we have space for a good reason, because one of our oldest startups, they just moved out of the space because we told them that, listen guys, you all have grown too big. So we tend to nudge out our startups when we feel that it's important for them to go outside and face the real world. We are obviously there as a support system for them. So they left us. They're just down the road because they didn't want to move away from the space. So, and they're still a part of all our events and every talk and etc. So they've moved out. So we have that space open for now. And so we have and yes, we have a happy hour. We have the New Year happy hour on Jan 8th.
Yay! I want to be there. I
From
miss you
7.
guys.
Yeah, I know. From 7 onwards, I wish we would have you, Jessica. It would be fun to have you around. But whoever wants to drop by, it's open for all. We're just celebrating the new year, and we've had some really positive stuff coming from all our startups. A few of them have got funded. A few of them have launched their
Wow, big
products.
news. Yeah.
So it's just a lot of happiness around. So we were like, oh, let's just celebrate it in a bigger tone. So we are going like all.
Nice.
But yes, and Jaga DNA opened a new studio as well in Malleshwaram. So it's just like a lot of happy
Oh.
news coming in. So yeah,
In the
like
farm itself, they opened another studio.
no, 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 no. So the farm is still there. Jaga startup is over here at the penthouse on Richmond Road. Jaga DNA, the Design Network and Art Program, which is art to the public, is opened a new studio in Malleshwaram. So
Ah,
like now Jaga
Madheshwaram.
has three,
Yes.
yeah, yes, so three physical. Yeah,
I'm still
it's lovely.
struggling with the words. If you say madame, I think, oh, farm. Oh, no. So
No,
you
but
will have New Year on your beautiful terrace, I guess, your rooftop
yes,
terrace.
yes, yes, yes.
Actually, my first night in India 2 years ago was at your terrace. There
And you
was,
see,
yeah, it was the opening of the new
oh,
Jaga
oh,
space. Yeah, you just moved out. So
oh,
for
yeah.
me, it's kind of my entrance into India in a sense, you know? So I really
We are,
resonate.
we are always happy to have you here. You know that.
I know. Just wanted to reaffirm.
Wow,
So,
that's great.
so thank you so much for having this
Anytime.
conversation. And
Thank you so much.
call to action could be for people to check out the new Jaga Startup in website, and to check out the farm, of course, and also the new space. But I think it's all on the website, right? All this
Yes,
information.
everything's there on the website.
Cool, cool,
Everything's
cool.
there on the website. Yes,
Thank you so
great.
much, and
Thank you so
let's
much.
Skype soon again.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay.
See you soon.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.
Bye.